Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you guys are having a great day. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different, and it's going to be kind of like the episode we did about Optifine last week. I figured it was a good time to introduce resource packs to you guys and explain a little bit more about what they do, how to acquire them, and how they can change the look of Minecraft for you very dramatically or subtly, if you prefer. So to start off with, I should probably explain the difference between a resource pack and a texture pack, because you'll find a lot of people tend to use these terms interchangeably, and I guarantee you that at some point in this video I will say texture pack when I mean resource pack, so apologies in advance for that. So a texture pack, as the name implies, is something that changes the textures of Minecraft. It reskins a bunch of the blocks and so forth in the world, sometimes all of them, sometimes just a few, and kind of retextures all of them to have a different look, whether that's kind of similar to Minecraft but a higher resolution texture, or whether that's completely different to Minecraft to change the look of the game entirely, using the blocky based kind of inner workings of Minecraft to create something that looks completely different to what we see in default vanilla Minecraft all around us right now. And changing the textures used to be the only thing that was natively supported by Minecraft until the resource pack system that was implemented around the time of Minecraft 1.6, I think. And basically what happened then was that resource packs were developed, and it's a way to add not just textures, but different models for things, and sounds and music, different language packs. The splash text on the main kind of screen can be changed. You can change fonts, that kind of stuff. So as of Minecraft 1.6, which was before I started playing Minecraft on PC in the first place, that was when resource packs were enabled, and that means there's a lot more customization over the look and feel of Minecraft. You can add kind of ambient sounds and stuff like that. You can change the sound of your footsteps walking around, as well as the textures of the stuff that you are walking on in the first place. But generally speaking, what people use resource packs for is still the texture pack side of things. It's still to reskin the blocks around them, to give the environment a completely different look, and to change the look of the materials that you're working with. Now, for the purposes of this video, I've downloaded a bunch of texture packs and resource packs that I can show you in a little bit more depth, so we can see exactly how possible it is to customize the look of Minecraft. And this is just a small sample of what's out there. Resource packs are community-made resources for the most part. There is one exception to this, which I will go over in this episode as well, but for the most part these are community-made resources, people who are hobbyists and so forth who will make these things and make them available online. So we're going to look a little bit into exactly where to get each of these packs, and this is only a small sample of what's out there. So to start off with, you may not notice this, but I'm actually using a resource pack already, and that is the lower shield pack. You'll notice down there in the left-hand corner I've got my shield equipped, and I use my shield quite a lot when I walk around and play. It's nice to be able to deflect skeleton arrows, to use it in cases of like going down a cave and occasionally having to shield myself from creeper damage. Even though I've got diamond armor and stuff on, I tend to play with a shield quite a lot. And as a result, I don't want it covering up the entire left-hand corner of my screen, but without this resource pack, it kind of does. Let me show you as a demonstration. I'm going to go to the options menu, click on resource packs here, and you'll see here that in the selected resource packs column on this right-hand side, I have default, which is just the default textures in Minecraft, and we have this pack here that says Vanilla Tweaks Lower Shield. When I hover over it, it says it's incompatible, which is a lie. I will get to that in a minute. But this is the Lower Shield resource pack, and what that's doing is actually moving the position of the shield as it's seen in my heads-up display in my HUD. It doesn't actually change the position of the shield in the world. I can still block with it and everything. It's just a visual change. So scrolling down here, I've actually clicked it out of this column into the available resource packs column here, but it's not currently enabled. And if I hit done, it's going to take a second or two to reload all of the textures. And once it's done that, you'll be able to see that the shield is kind of in a completely different place. See, it's a little bit higher. It's like if I hold it up there, it's covering up basically the entire path in that bottom left corner of the screen. And now if I re-enable this pack, it's going to move down a little bit and we'll be able to see some of the path again. Now, this says it was made for an older version of Minecraft. I probably should update this because I think a version for 1.13 is available. But when that red box comes up, that is normally something you need to pay attention to, because a few changes have been made over the years to exactly how Minecraft gathers all of the texture information from these files. And especially in 1.13, that was kind of revamped and reworked. So if you're playing in Minecraft 1.13 and above, make sure that your texture pack is compatible with 1.13 and above, because some texture packs from older versions, the textures won't show up properly. It'll look very weird. A lot of the stuff won't work at all. So make sure that you have one that's compatible with the version of Minecraft that you're playing. While we're here, by the way, I should probably explain how to install these resource packs in the first place. It is very simple, but we'll cover it quickly here. So if you go to this resource pack screen when you have Minecraft loaded up, click on Open Resource Pack Folder down here. As you can see underneath, it says you place the resource pack files here. Just click on that. It'll minimize Minecraft and open up your resource packs folder, which is in App Data, Roaming, Minecraft, Resource Packs. The .minecraft folder is the one you need to find. That's quite easy to take care of. You just need to go into Resource Packs and then drag any resource packs that you've downloaded here still in their compressed zip folder format. That's all you need to do. Minecraft will recognize all of the files as a zip and knows where to extract them from the files and load them up while you're playing. So you don't need to worry about that. Just leave them in there as zip files is the best way to do it. People on Bedrock actually have the option to download resource packs from the Minecraft Marketplace, but that's a whole separate thing, and it's not something I'm going to go into today because we're doing this for Java Edition. So anyway, if I add this into the column on the right, it does say, do you want to load this resource pack because it was made for an older version of Minecraft? We're going to confirm because I know it's going to work properly. I'll hit done, and in a second it should load back up, and you'll notice, there we go, the shield is out of the way of the path. I haven't moved my my field of view around in any way. That's actually just dropped the shield a good inch or so on my screen so I can see what I'm doing down here, but it's still effective as a blocking thing. It doesn't affect the gameplay anyway, just the visual side of things. So now we're going to get into the actual texture changes, and for this I'm going to look up at the Blacksmith's Guild here now that I've completed the front of this, because we're going to enable a texture pack that is going to change the look of a lot of these blocks, and this is in fact a texture pack that is being developed by Mojang itself. There is a pixel artist called Jasper Burstra who's been working on rearranging and retexturing a lot of the blocks in Minecraft over the last little while for a set of textures that's presumably going to be released around the time Minecraft 1.14 comes out, the Village and Pillage update, the next update to Minecraft. And we've seen some of these textures in the development snapshots for 1.14 already, and they've been released as a separate texture pack so that people can play along in 1.13 with these textures. Now I'm going to hit Options, going to go into my resource packs, and I'm going to enable Texture Update version 3.3 Java. That's the one that's been available from Minecraft.net for a little while now. We're going to hit done, and you'll see the change in this building. It's going to be a subtle one because these are still textures that are based on the current textures of Minecraft, but I'm going to fade between these two buildings so you can see the difference. I'm going to fade between the two sets of textures, and you'll see that there are changes to the Dark Prismarine. It's kind of a little bit more outlined. It's a little more, I don't know, kind of plasticky looking, I suppose. The stone brick looks like it pops a little bit more. There's a little bit more contrast between the brick and the cracks in it, and the log texture is a little bit different as well. Not to mention that the planks and a few other things have changed. The leaf texture is also a little bit different. There are mostly subtle changes going on here, but it's all quite significant when you put these two side by side. I'm actually going to place down a few blocks out here, and these are going to be my example blocks that we're going to use to demonstrate how each of these texture packs changes a few things here, because this is all looking like fairly similar to current vanilla Minecraft, and that's the whole point of this texture pack, is actually to change very little about the current texture set, but just to kind of update the style a little bit to more closer to what the newer blocks that are being added are like, so to kind of make the art style of Minecraft a little bit more consistent. You'll notice that some of the sprites in my hotbar have also changed as well, and things like steak and water buckets and various other things, even the tools look ever so slightly different. Some stuff like the diamond pickaxe I don't think is too different. I think they mentioned they didn't want to change that too much because it's kind of iconic at this point, but I think even my shield has a slightly different texture to it now. One of the biggest changes I think is this glass texture, because normally the glass texture in the current default vanilla Minecraft is a little bit kind of streaky, and this one is a lot clearer. That central section is totally clear. Now, people have asked me why I'm not using these textures already, because they've been released in beta form, at least on Minecraft.net for a while. It's the kind of thing they're using in the snapshots, and some other folks out there who are content creators are already using this pack in anticipation of it being the new look of Minecraft. The main reason I'm not using it so far is that it's not done yet. There are still some textures that have yet to be updated. For example, the glass over there that's got that completely clear central pane has not, the texture has not been kind of carried over to the stained glass yet. And so the stained glass looks kind of completely different. And there are some choices when it comes to building that I have to know exactly what the texture is going to look like before I can make that choice for building. And you will sort of see why I think that way when we get into some of the more heavily adjusted texture packs later on in this video. But for the most part, I think I'm quite happy with how these textures look. I think one of the other really dramatic changes we'll probably be able to see if we go over the ridge here, because the wheat color has changed quite dramatically. Although hay bales are still the same sort of color, but wheat is now this lovely kind of golden, almost white sort of color. At least it's very different compared to how the yellow wheat was before. And so we've got this nice kind of golden field up here. And I might even be tempted to design some of this stuff a little bit differently now that the wheat has changed to this color. But that's something we can tackle when these textures are officially finalized and we're playing with them for real, which is probably going to be around the time of 1.14 releasing. I plan to keep this world going into 1.14 and beyond though, so sooner or later we will be seeing these textures everywhere and they will be the new textures that we work with. For now, I'm going to switch back to default, and we're going to look at a resource pack called Faithful, which, as the name suggests, is trying to stay faithful to the original textures of vanilla Minecraft while upscaling the resolution of these to 32 by 32 images instead of 16 by 16 pixel images. So this right here is Faithful. This is a pack by Mr. Vizzy and Vatic. You'll find a link to that in the description as well as on the screen right now. And Faithful is a really neat pack, actually. It's got a very vanilla feel to it, as you can tell, and a lot of this stuff looks kind of the same, but you will notice just a slight difference in the resolution of them. You can have way more rings in there for one thing, but yeah, just like a little bit of difference to the logs around here. Some of the stuff just feels a little bit more detailed. It feels like it's got a little bit more kind of room for detail in there, because it does, because the texture is larger. Like Minecraft uses a 16 by 16 pixel texture for all of its blocks, but through resource packs it is possible to implement textures which have even more. We're going to go pretty high with that in a few seconds, but before that, let's take a look around our world in Faithful. Let's take a look at the Blacksmith's Guild, which you guys will be familiar with from the last video. And as you can see, the planks in particular have these nice thin lines to them. Everything feels a little bit more crisp and a little bit more detailed. You've got the ender chest down there looking quite similar, but with a few more pixels to work with there. Even the paintings can actually be kind of scaled up to represent more of what is in the original painting. Because all these paintings in Minecraft, by the way, are based on actual works of art by an artist who contributed them to the game. This one's an interesting one, actually. Look at the differences between these paintings in Faithful and Default. That's Default. And that's Faithful. You see, so there's so much difference there, and there is scope for some other stuff to change, like the flowers in these flower pots being more detailed and having a little bit more room to play with. We might even see a few differences in mobs if we hang around while it's nighttime. Even the sprites in our interface look a little bit more crisp, and one of the other things Faithful does is change the font of the GUI. The font of the interface and the menus and so forth all changes a little bit when you've got Faithful enabled. So now we've done that, and with this zombie moonwalking towards us in the distance, I'm going to pause the game again, and we're going to change from Faithful to another resource pack, which is called Zig Zag. Zig Zag is a pack with 128 by 128 pixel textures, so this is going to be a much higher resolution texture pack made by somebody called Jamie McKiernan. This is available on their website, which you can find in the description, and as you can see already, the menu system here is looking a little bit different, a little bit chunkier. We've got these kind of beveled, I think that's what it's called, or like embossed kind of textures on the menu, and if we go back to the game, you'll see things already have taken on a different look. They're all very cartoony looking, especially this zombie who seems to be wearing a suit. He's off to the prom or something. But things like particles are looking different as well. Yeah, more zombies to come and attack us. Fine, let's take a look around the world in this texture pack for a little bit. Oh, there's even a guy over here with gold armor, and you'll notice even the armor looks really different. In fact, the armor I'm wearing looks completely different. My tools look a lot more kind of cartoony, and did that guy just drop a gold helmet? Yeah, he did. Look at these, though. Look at this armor. Oh, yes. I like that a lot, and even the wings look a little bit different. They've got feather patterns and stuff in them. See, this is the kind of stuff that is possible with a texture pack, a resource pack, rather. Again, I told you I would do that, but instead of just doing the block textures and overhauling that stuff, you can overhaul a whole bunch more, including all of the items and what the players wear. The spider looks a little bit kind of worried, I guess, for want of a better term, but I love the particles evaporating into the air, the smoke. It's pretty cool, and the grass looks super cool as well. Another thing that resource packs with this kind of resolution allow you to do is some really neat stuff with leaves. So you can see that tree up there looks completely different to the low resolution leaves that you see normally in vanilla texture packs. Also, the creepers just look freaking adorable, don't they? Look at that. And look at the flowers. There's so much detail has been poured into this. And as you can see, if we go over here, the Blacksmith's Guild almost looks like a completely different building. Some of the textures are smoother, especially the grass. I find the grass super smooth in this texture pack. It almost feels like you're gliding around on it. Overall, it's got a very cartoony feel, which might not be everybody's bag. In my case, it's fun for a bit of experimentation. It's fun to see what your world looks like in different texture packs. But, you know, the kind of things that I like to do with textures in vanilla, where I'm blending stone with stone brick, there's just such a high contrast between these that those aren't the materials I would have chosen to build this wall with. I might have made the entire thing out of stone brick or just out of regular stone because of how different those two look compared to the way they look in vanilla. The rain. Even the rain and the moon look different in this pack. There's so much stuff that has changed. Let's take a quick look around the interior here. Let's go through to the storage room over here and take a look at what the note blocks look like. Yeah, those are totally different as well. The spruce trapdoors have a completely different texture to them. The pistons still look like pistons. That's the cool thing about packs like this, is that they are still quite clearly recognizable as all of the stuff that you know from vanilla Minecraft. It's just that everything has a completely different skin on it. And with the creepers looking so cute, I almost feel a little bit bad about having a creeper head here on the shelf. Now, a quick note about texture packs of this size, because like I said, this is a 128 by 128 texture pack. It is not small in terms of the textures, and much like stuff like shaders, this can be quite graphically intensive. So if you're running a low budget computer, if your computer is not like super well equipped to deal with graphically intensive stuff, you might find that it struggles more than you would expect with a pack like this that is deceptively cartoonish and simple looking, because it's having to render in about like 8 times as much detail as it would normally would with vanilla default Minecraft textures. So you'll find that on some computers you end up struggling a little bit. But the landscape looks completely different. Some of the builds look very different, and all in all, it's a very different way at looking at Minecraft in general. But I think that's all I'm going to show you from Zig Zag for now. Once again, the link to that will be in the description, much as the same as the links to all of the other texture packs we're going to be looking at today. It's time to move on to our next pack. Our next pack is going to be quite similar to Zig Zag. We're going to take a look at Smooth Operator by 50 Walrus. Now, Smooth Operator is cranking up the resolution. This is a 256 by 256 resource pack, and even this is giving my computer a little bit of trouble. It's probably not showing up too much on the video, thankfully, but I'm getting like a little bit of screen tearing and visual jitter when I'm running around in the world using this texture pack. It's a lot for my computer to process, and I have a pretty decent computer. But this pack, as you can see, favors a slightly darker gray stone, which is kind of more to my liking. The log texture is just absurdly detailed. Look at the lines in that bark. And if we take a look at the Blacksmith's Guild once again, you'll see that these are still quite faithful to the textures of vanilla Minecraft, but things like wool, for example, have this stitched texture on there now. The crafting table has this almost cel-shaded Borderlands style look to it. The steak has these massive grill lines on it that I've just noticed. You'll notice that the hunger bar down there is a bunch of like slices of toast with butter, which is very cool. And the tools and so forth look a little bit different. Let's see. Oh, the armor is different, but look at those wings. Oh, that's nice. I like that quite a lot, actually. But a lot of 50 Walrus's texture pack has these kind of repeating square brushes. This sort of randomized pattern of squares exists in most of the blocks and textures around here, and it really gives the pack quite a unified feel, which I enjoy personally. Now, look at the wheat field. Oh my goodness, that's such a bright yellow, and I think the hay bales in this one have actually been tweaked to match. Is that horse down there like a polka dot horse? It looks like a Dalmatian. That's pretty cool. It can be kind of fun to see what these packs do with villagers as well. And look at his face. That's such a high resolution texture, but there's not a huge amount more detail added to them. They've kept the villagers' faces fairly simple, it looks like. Their outfits kind of all look relatively similar too. Look at the redstone lamps though. That looks like such a high-tech redstone lamp compared to the one that's in the vanilla game. I tell you what though, it's always really interesting looking at the stuff that I built in the default texture pack when I've got a different texture pack on, because there's definitely some choices that I wouldn't make in this texture pack that I did when I was using the default. And that's kind of why I prefer working with the default a lot of the time. For a start, it's a texture pack that everybody has access to, so it's easy for people to take inspiration from the stuff I build. But also because some of these texture packs, while they're really really cool don't always have the same kind of flow and design philosophy that vanilla does. For example, like in this windmill build, I've used cobblestone and I've used andesite, and in the default texture pack, they kind of blend together very well. There's not that much difference between cobblestone and the andesite. The cracks in the cobblestone almost merge with the andesite, if you're kind of not paying super close attention to the materials there, you could almost imagine that was one continuous piece of material, unlike when you up the textures to something like Smooth Operator, and suddenly you'll find that the borders between those textures become all the more visible. If you're not using the same material across the board, you end up with these really obvious lines between the two textures, and that is kind of the downfall of using a higher resolution texture pack. And that can completely change your approach to building. It can become more beneficial to build large areas of a flat single piece of material instead of mixing up textures like we do in vanilla so often to create more texture. What you want to do is take the texture out of things more often than not, which is a different approach entirely when it comes to building this stuff. Now we're going to do something a little bit weird. We're going to go from a super high resolution texture pack like Smooth Operator to something that is a lower resolution than even the default textures of Minecraft. This is 4x4, a texture pack by Nix, or NNIXX, and this, believe it or not, is the same world we were in before. Don't you feel small now? Doesn't this feel like we're tiny? This is a really interesting pack. When I first loaded this one up, my mind was kind of blown, because suddenly it feels like I'm super low to the ground and I'm walking around like a mouse in this giant world. But that's just a result of the textures shrinking down to the point where every block looks like it is super close up and super small. But that is still the same oak planks that we placed there earlier. See? It's right there. The torches look like giant fat things because they are only 2 pixels wide in terms of the texture. It's really weird seeing all of this stuff. And I think there are still some textures which are the same size, which kind of creates this crazy like Alice in Wonderland style, I'm too big, this is too small situation. But yeah, we have the same world around us, but a completely different feel to it. It all looks like it's a model or something like that. And if I fly up into the air, you'll actually notice that some of the sprites aren't condensed as much as the torches are because they're not being placed in the world. But looking down on it like this, you really don't notice the difference all that much. It's when you land and you get up close to some of these textures that you realize, oh boy, this all makes it feel like it is super tiny. Also, all the spiders are glowing white for some reason. I don't really know why. I need to get in here and sleep. And if you thought it was weird looking at the difference between paintings in Faithful and in Default, look at this painting in 4x4. You can hardly even tell that's a painting of something. It is a very weird sensation to look around at your builds and think, this looks like a Lego model of the stuff that I've already built. But anyway, this is 4x4, and this is probably the last of the vanilla Faithful texture packs that we're going to look at. Because, like I said, this one is still trying to emulate vanilla textures most of the way. It's still got the same kind of colors and everything. It's still got a majority of the same style of textures, if not using exactly the same resolution. Now we are about to head out into something completely different, because we are going to take a look at Conquest. Conquest is a pack aimed specifically at medieval builders and is based on a texture pack called John Smith's, which was a pretty well-established medieval texture pack back in the day. If you ever thought you wanted to see Skyrim in Minecraft, this is probably the pack for you, because the textures used here are very of that type. They're kind of bleak-looking wood, bleak-looking stone, but so detailed. I forget exactly what the resolution is of this pack. It doesn't specify it in the information there, and I think that is some gunpowder from a creeper I just killed. But look at everything in this pack and see how different it feels, while still obviously having the mechanics of Minecraft. It's still got all of the same blocks and everything. The grass is all around us, and the stuff we built is still here, but it all looks incredibly different. We have these details in the stained glass. The prismarine brick looks like it's been dredged up from the bottom of some kind of ocean. The iron bars look so different. And once again, this is the kind of resource pack in which I would build stuff completely differently, because just building a wall out of stone brick, the stone bricks look different in each block. Conquest recommends that you use Optifine for this, and not only does that change the sky, by the way, you might have noticed the sky changing in a couple of other packs, this one is probably the most dramatic dramatic change of all of them. It's added in these painted clouds, and the sun looks totally different and everything. But one of the other things it can do in Optifine is make use of alternate textures. So you have a bunch of different textures, even though you're placing the same block everywhere. No two stone blocks in this wall are going to look alike because it's using, I think, the coordinate data or something like that to change the look of the blocks depending on where they are placed in the world. And it gives it this wonderful, coherent feel to the whole thing. The sprites on us look crazy. I don't know what the armor in this looks like. Okay, wow. That's a lot. And I think the gold helmet is going to be something kind of similar. Yeah, there you go. There you go. This is some Skyrim stuff right here. Even the wings look like Da Vinci-style flying machine wings. That's nuts. Let's take a quick fly around and see if there's anything else that we can take a look at while we've got this pack on. Well, the villagers certainly look different. Hello! It's like being in Lord of the Rings. Look at this cartographer with his spectacles. Oh my goodness me, what? Oh, okay, hello. There's some crazy stuff going on here. Yeah, the heads turn independently of the hair that's attached to their collars. But these all look like the dwarfs from The Hobbit or something. It's crazy looking. That guy's the toolsmith right there. We've got another cartographer here. We've got an armorer here. They've all got such interesting faces. One of the fun things that Conquest does with item frames is that rotten flesh with flies buzzing around it. That's incredible. But yeah, the item frames are actually invisible, or rather, they're not quite invisible, but they are limited to just having almost like a mounting plate attached to the wall, and the rest of the item frame is invisible, meaning that you can actually have stuff glued to a wall like that, as though it's just hanging there by itself. And that kind of lends a whole different vibe to the place when you don't have these obvious item frames hanging around everywhere. The observer blocks have this animated texture of like a cog spinning and stuff like that. This is a piston right here. We've got dispensers with these grills in front of them. Oh my. It is a whole different world when you're walking around your world with one of these texture packs. It really is. Even the leaves and stuff look different because they're able to extend the leaf texture past the boundaries of the blocks themselves. You might be wondering why I don't use this texture pack, because it feels like a builder's dream, and the honest answer to that is that I feel like it's more fun and more of a challenge to be able to build stuff that looks this good using the default textures of Minecraft. That's part of the fun of Minecraft for me, is being able to make something that looks fantastic even though you've used the default texture set, which by all accounts, looking compared to some of the stuff we've seen today, is actually pretty ugly. To me though, that's part of the charm of Minecraft, is being able to work with the textures that you're given and still come up with something that looks really special. And I hope you guys are getting that vibe from this series, because it's always what I try to do. I always try and work with the default and prove that you can build incredibly beautiful things without having to rely on the texture pack as a kind of crutch. And believe me, I'm not hating on texture pack users at all, because there are people who build stuff in Conquest who build some absolutely fantastic stuff that would look just as good in vanilla, and it's the texture pack that inspires them to build stuff like that. And that is fantastic, I think. Now, this is the second to last texture set that I wanted to show you guys today, and we're going to save the other one for the end of the video as a bit of fun. But for now, we're going to leave Conquest. It's got some different sounds, by the way, in the menu, and the menus all look completely different, which is crazy to me. But if we leave Conquest behind, I'm going to enable this one here, diverting sounds. This is a sound pack by Partum Creed. There we go, we're back in default. And you'll notice very few things change immediately. I'm actually going to whack the sounds up just a little bit. Let's turn blocks up. Let's turn the master volume up a little bit as well, so you guys can hear a little bit more of this. I'll try to adjust it a little bit in the edit as well. But you won't notice too many differences in the sounds around here. If I break some of this grass, it still kind of has the same noise to it. But the differences come when you start mining stuff. For example, if I mine a couple of blocks of stone brick here, it has more of a chiseling kind of sound, a very kind of short stone sound, and that's the same when I place those blocks as well. So what's happened here is the resource pack creator has just decided to adjust a couple of sounds that they felt didn't quite fit in Minecraft and could have been done a little bit differently. The same is true if you walk on stone, actually. The footstep sounds in this pack change a little bit. Here we go. I'm over here crossing the bridge into the industrial district. Have a listen to my footsteps. They sound just a little bit different. They sound kind of more like I'm walking over like a tiny amount of gravel, or just an average sort of stone path with a little bit of dust on it. And there aren't really a great many resource packs that adjust the sounds of Minecraft, that don't go into full-on mods that add in ambient noise for the environment and birds tweeting and stuff like that. But occasionally you might just want to tweak a couple of sounds here and there. You might find the noise of blocks breaking annoying and find that this pack works a little bit better for you. It's just an option. Now for the final resource pack I want to show you, we're actually going to leave the Minecraft Survival Guide world entirely, because the next pack I'm going to show you is only compatible with versions 1.8 and 1.9 of Java Minecraft, and I kind of want to show you guys this. So we're going to leave the Survival Guide world for now. While we're here, actually, I'm going to briefly re-enable Conquest, because I'll show you what the Conquest menu screen looks like. There we go, a completely different menu screen with the title Conquest up there, the splash text changed, a completely different background. It's just one of the many things that you can change in a resource pack. Right, now that I've shown you that, I'm going to log out completely so we can load back up in Minecraft 1.8. Okay, here we are in Minecraft 1.8.9, and this is going to feel a little bit weird at first, but not as weird as it's going to get. We're going to open up a new single-player world. You'll notice there aren't even any icons for these worlds, and we do not want to open any of those because this is like 5 versions back, not even counting the, decimal point version. So we're going to start a whole new different world, and this is going to be called Chubbick Test, because this is going to demonstrate the Chubbick Craft Challenge texture pack. Now this is going to be a completely different concept to all of the texture packs that we've explored so far. Let's load up our world and see where we spawn in. All right, here we are in 1.8 in a spruce forest. And now this looks pretty much like Minecraft should, at least at the beginning. We are about to change this dramatically, because I'm going to go into the options, go to resource packs, I'm going to enable Chubbick Craft 1.8 and watch what happens. Welcome to the world of Chubbick Craft. This is a challenge texture pack where they have replaced all of the textures with a plain white texture with the name of the block written on it. So the idea behind this challenge is that you play the entire game in these completely white textures, which when you actually look at it is kind of beautiful, like the whole world has been made out of paper. It's all been kind of assembled out of paper like this, or card or something. And the idea is that you play through this entire game, you play through the entire game up until you've beaten the Ender Dragon, and you play through it with all of the textures like this. So the only way of knowing what something is that it's got its name written on it. And this is something that I've done a couple of times. I did this on a challenge stream once, and I got about as far as the Nether, but we didn't have time to complete everything and finish off the dragon. But oh boy, is this something a little bit different, and this can be accomplished with resource packs. Now, this isn't even the weirdest thing we're going to do in this video. We are going to take this one step further, because I mentioned that there was another sound pack that we were going to try out, and this is called the Element Animation Villager Sounds Resource Pack. Element Animation have been making Minecraft animations for a while, and they are iconic for their villager characters, who all have this very distinctive voice to them. And we're going to enable this because one of the fun things they put out back in the day was a resource pack that changed the sounds of Minecraft. So instead of the actual sound effects, it was the guy who does the villager voices saying the name of whatever was making the sound. So when you're walking on grass, he says the word grass. Let's demonstrate this, because in combination with the Chubbick Craft texture pack, this is genuinely absolutely bizarre. And I'm going to need to turn everything all the way up, because this really needs to be heard. Okay, here we go. You can hear him saying grass as I'm walking around.
Dig.
Oh, and he just says dig.
Dig.
Oh my goodness, when I mine the wood, I think this might be the most bizarre way anyone has ever played Minecraft. And I could be wrong about that. Oh my goodness me. The cows. They've even got cow written on them. Let's hang around and hear if they... It moves! This is absolutely haunting. And yeah, this is just a bizarre experience, but it is kind of the ultimate challenge. If you think you know Minecraft well, give this resource pack a try, because I guarantee it's going to give you a run for your money. Well, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this look at what resource packs are capable of, and believe me, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We have barely scratched the surface of the resource packs that are out there. I just wanted to show you guys some of my favorites, and this series, of course, is is going to be staying in the default vanilla textures, mainly because I want you guys to be able to look at these builds and see exactly the same blocks that you're seeing in your own worlds. Everybody has access to the default resource pack, so it feels like it's only fair for me to present tutorials for the game in the default resource pack. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little look at what else is out there. Believe me, I'm really happy to be back in default vanilla after some of the stuff we have seen today. After that Chubbitcraft texture pack, I feel like I need to go and have a lie down. So that's why we're going to wrap up this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide here. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Please do leave a like on the episode if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.